So I think we'll start.
Yes, Mayur, you can start.
All right. Okay. So a very good morning to everyone. My name is Mayur. Thank you for taking time out of your really busy schedule and joining us for this online learning session. With work from home turning into the new trend in the corporate sector amid the coronavirus crisis, organizations are taking several measures to keep employees engaged in the new scheme of things. These include team-based virtual or social engagement initiatives, regular company-wide or department-level communication, and town halls organized to address the employees' concerns. On that note, the Confederation of Indian Industry and Young Indians, along with our partner, WordsMaya, we have organized this webinar on conducting effective virtual meetings. Even with the best tools available, meeting attendees fail to build rapport and experience gaps in communication. So today's webinar will help our attendees to get a few tips to improve your virtual meeting to be more engaging and more productive. We have our presenter with us today, Ms. Rashmi Marathe Lokapure. Rashmi is a master trainer and curriculum designer with a blend of experiential, motivational, behavioral science. Rashmi curates and customizes the curriculum for WordMaya's communication skill training for organizations. And what about WordMaya? WordMaya is an IIM Calcutta seed-funded company, which is a pioneer in executing communication skill training with a blended learning approach. So I'll hand over the session to Rashmi. Rashmi, please.
Thank you so much, Mayur. And first of all, a warm welcome and a very good morning to everyone present. Welcome to this webinar on conducting effective virtual meetings. So before we begin, I would like to thank CII for this opportunity and for an overwhelming response from all the participants. We're going to have a wonderful time. For the next 60 minutes, we're going to be together discussing, interacting, and understanding the concept of how to conduct effective or successful virtual meetings. So before we start and take off this session, we have a few pointers to understand. So things to know before we begin. Number one, we would request everyone to please place themselves on mute. Your videos would be switched off to reduce data consumption and for better interaction, of course. Please feel free to use the chat option because the question arises, how do we interact, Rashmi? How do we throw questions? So the best option is the chat option. If you see in the controls below, you'll see chat option. Please type out your questions, type out whatever queries. If you want to express something, say something, please type it out in the chat option. I would read out the chat and I would be more than happy to answer all your queries. Also, the third option available is raise hand, or you can just give a thumbs up if you want to say yes or agree to what I'm saying. So these are the three options that you would feel free to use. Number one, place yourself on mute, switch off the video. Feel free to use the chat option to respond to all questions. Of course, FAQs or questions would be taken at the end of the session. And last, please use raise hand option to ask questions, right? So let's begin. That's the first slide that we have set up, conducting effective virtual meetings. Now, the first activity here is going to be, I want you to look at this image carefully. And I want all participants to chat what are their thoughts. What are their
Harshad, I think Rashmi's video is gone or frozen.
Yes, I think there is an issue there.
Could you please check with her?
Yes, just a second. Yes, Ashmi, please continue.
Sure. Yes. So one word that comes to your mind. Okay, from Tridip, I get a response, quiet and specific space to conduct the meeting. Thank you, Tridip, lovely. Any other responses? One word, aptly prepared is what Sachin says. Harshit says comfort. Okay, some interesting responses up here. Thank you, people. Anything else that comes to your mind when you just look at this picture, this image? One thought that pops up. Please try experiment with the chat option, participants. Okay, interesting to both is what Narendra says. Dr. Anand says, right sitting position. Okay. Shripad says he's preparing for meeting. Good. Pretty much on track, Shripad. Any other responses that you can come across? Anything else that you can think of? This is going to be an absolute interactive session, people. So I'm expecting more responses. Oh, great. We have Arun here. New world to do business. Dharmesh says formal appearance. Okay. I hope that was a sarcastic comment. Sanket says organized table required. Sudhir says quite involved in meeting. Okay. Ajiv with Bermuda meeting. I love this one. Yes. Witty. Kanta says appearances are deceptive. Yes, Kanta, agree with that. Sachin, work with comfort of home. Absolutely, absolutely said. Well said. Meeting without pressure is Nirmal's response. Nirmal, meeting without pressure. Lovely, lovely. Amazing. I'm happy to receive all these responses, and thank you so much, participants, for being right there and being focused. So just to come to the point that I'm trying to drive to is virtual meeting.
I think again there is a challenge. Rashmi?
So yes, due to the lockdown phase and
Yeah, Rashmi, we just lost you for half a minute.
Okay, let me repeat. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Thank you, Arshad. So yes, due to the lockdown phase, maximum companies have started working remotely, and the business has changed its lifestyle. The business lifestyle has changed dramatically. People are working from home. We are having virtual meetings every now and then. You got to connect with people virtually. So the entire business process has changed, and the importance or the rate at which virtual meetings were conducted has increased exponentially. So this is the reason why the main objective is we learn how to conduct effective virtual meetings. Because a lot of challenges that we face when we are communicating online or when you're communicating virtually. So clarifying the objective for today's webinar, we aim to basically get confident with conducting virtual meetings and getting good with the virtual atmosphere, engaging with the audience perfectly, right? So this is the main objective. Moving ahead, with your permission, I would like to quickly brief you about the company profile WordsMaya. Mayur has already done that. WordsMaya is a government recognized startup under the Startup India mission, and it is a pioneer in executing communication skills training with a blended approach, online, offline, both. So they have this exclusive app that helps them to conduct trainings in communications across India. A quick brief about me as a presenter. I've been a behavioral trainer and I'm associated with WordsMaya as a curriculum designer and a master trainer. I create and customize curriculum for WordsMaya communication skills training. So that's a quick brief about me as a presenter. Now, before we move ahead, let me throw a quick question. Okay, Manoj says audio. Am I audible? Just type in a yes.
Rashmi.
Okay, great. Thank you. So before we move further, a quick question coming your way, people. Let me know how many meetings you attend in a week. I want to know the approx number of meetings you tend to. So was right there in the chat. Okay, we come with 5, 10, 3, 8, 7. All right, go ahead, give me some more numbers. How many meetings you tend to attend, virtual meetings you tend to attend in today's times? 12 is what Alifia says. Okay, quite a number. 10 to 15, 4 to 5. Nirmal says 4 to 5. All right, go ahead. 10 to 15 is what Prabhu says. Wonderful. 4 to 5. Nishigandha. 14 is what Saktivel says. Chetan, 5 to 8. So if you check the approximate number, it ranges between 10 to 15. All right, so this is where I'm coming to next. Meeting in a week, the number is 15. And this was a recent survey done worldwide. It's a global number that I'm stating. 15 meetings in a week comes to around 60 to 62 meetings per month. And we end up investing 23 hours per week in virtual meetings. So that's quite some time. 60% of the time is spent in meetings. A normal employee spends 60% of the time in virtual meetings, because this lifestyle, the business scenario, the environment has completely changed. It has got virtual. And because we were not in office space, because we are not used to this, it gets pretty uncomfortable. And it becomes pretty challenging. We're unable to achieve our business goals because many times we're not used to the virtual atmosphere. So that is the main objective that we are supposed to drive in today's webinar. Okay, moving further, this is the growth rate as we talked about. The exponential growth rate I talked about, worldwide, it's 80%. From 2019 to 2020, we see a 80% rise in the number of virtual meetings that take place. All right, moving further, these are the changing work trends. If you look at the slide carefully, as I said, business lifestyle has changed, work trends have changed. And the benefits are, number one, we tend to save a lot of cost working remotely, working from home. Less carbon impact because people tend to travel less. Business travel has reduced a lot. So instead of traveling globally, now meetings are conducted on Zoom, Skype, or other tools. More flexible work schedule. You can be at home, give time to your family, simultaneously attend your sessions or attend your meetings. Improved employee retention. And that's a global statistics. Yes, during the lockdown and during this phase of COVID-19, or working remotely, in fact, has immensely improved employee retention. Also, sharing files and sharing docs, sharing things, presentations, real time. So this is a global scenario, how things have changed, how work trends have changed so far. Now, let's do a quick reality check. Everything looks glossy, but if you see the first finding there, virtual meetings, 50% are considered ineffective. Okay, 50% of virtual meetings are considered ineffective. And the cost of unproductive virtual meetings goes to around 10 billion US dollars. So though there is a trend of virtual meetings, but hardly 50% of virtual meetings are considered effective. The rest are absolutely unproductive. Decisions are not made right, or maybe employees are not engaged. Employees tend to lose interest or get disengaged with time. So that is these are the reasons why virtual meetings are considered ineffective, and especially 50%, which is quite a big number. So it is our responsibility in today's time to learn how to turn our virtual meetings effective, how to be successful in conducting them, so that we can can run business smooth. Why virtual meetings fail? Number one, 70% employees bring other work to a meeting. And that's the same when it comes to virtual meetings, whether webinars or virtual training session. 70% of the time, participants are multitasking. They're engaged in something else. They're doing some other work. They're not making notes. They think, okay, we just have to listen to what's being said. We don't need to interact. And that's the reason there is less engagement. 70% bring other work to a meeting. 9 out of 10 are daydreaming because they lose track. The concentration span of a person would range somewhere between 2 to 3 minutes. Post that, people start daydreaming. And the last, 25% of the time, irrelevant issues are discussed because virtual meetings are not properly planned. The agenda itself is not clear, or the speaker loses or goes off track. And that's the reason whatever time is spent, maybe an hour or two, is so the next point that we place here is, the question is, does this mean we should stop having virtual meetings? So this is a question to the audience. Does this mean we should stop having virtual meetings? If you think yes, just type a yes in the chat option. If you think no, type N in the chat option, please. The question is, does this mean we should stop having virtual meetings? Because we face so many challenges, it's not pretty engaging. Should we stop? Okay, so we have a no, no, no. Venkat says yes. No, no, no coming up. All right. And yes. Okay, great. Good. No from Ajit, Sanket. Great. So I'm sure most of you agree that to stop virtual meetings is not the right answer. This is an option which will help us to drive our business during these times, right? So let's understand and let's take up this responsibility of learning how to get good with it, how to get accustomed to this virtual environment or atmosphere. So my kind or humble request is, before we start coming to the main concept or getting through this entire session, I would request you guys to quickly make notes wherever possible. Of course, keep throwing your questions on the chat option, but please make notes wherever possible, because this will help you to not just engage, but also understand the concept in depth. And you can easily implement it during your regular routine, business routine, okay? So the question is, how do we do it? The answer that I'm going to drive to is just the way we learn email etiquettes to get good with email. As a facilitator and as a participant, both. We have to be good with the etiquettes or mannerism. That is the solution. Let me repeat. We get to learn virtual meeting etiquette. Just the way audible. Okay.
Okay, Rashmi, can you please repeat what you said in the last 1 minute? Because I think we lost you there. Your video just froze.
Sure, I will. Okay. So because people said that we cannot stop having virtual meetings. So how do we get good with virtual meetings? The solution is the way we learn email etiquettes to be smart at emails. The way we learn food and dining etiquettes to be good with food and table manners, to get accustomed to business dining. The way we learn telephone mannerisms or telephone etiquettes to be good with conversations over the phone, to avoid commonly made mistakes. Similarly, to get good with virtual meetings, it's essential that we learn virtual meeting etiquettes. We learn the mannerisms. Once we know the protocol, once we know the structure of how a virtual meeting has to be conducted, it becomes easy. We need not stop or we need not reduce the meetings that are conducted on a daily basis. Let's get good with it. Let's learn the art, is the point I'm trying to drive. I hope I was clear here. Thank you for yes. Okay, so moving further, let me introduce you to the agenda for the day. We're going to tap with the changing scenarios first. How is the scenario changed? We just quickly discussed it. We're going to learn the before and after protocols of a virtual meeting. What are the etiquettes to be followed before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting? The do's and don'ts to avoid commonly made errors. And of course, last but not the least, we are talking
Hello,
about,
Rashmi.
yes, Harshit?
Just try stopping the video and keeping presentation still on. Just try that.
Okay, okay. Better now?
Yes.
Okay, okay. All right. So let's start with before meeting etiquettes. So before meeting etiquette, step number 1. Step number 1 is, what is the purpose? So before you take up with any virtual meeting, it's essential that you determine what is the purpose of this meeting. So meetings are of different types. We use meetings to make decisions, to influence, to build information. Second, brainstorming. For example, in manufacturing, a lot of times there is the R&D team comes up with brainstorming about a product. They want to research about a product. They want to know about its features, what ideas can be implemented. So that's brainstorming. Number 3, group editing. Group editing is working on a particular document, online presentation. So maybe you were just discussing on a particular presentation, maybe about your recent marketing plans. And last, small working group. So small working group, we mean to say projects, small projects that you have undertaken. So first of all, before you send the meeting invite, please decide what is the purpose. Are you supposed to just share information? Is the meeting for brainstorming? Is the meeting meant for group editing, online presentation, or is it just a quick discussion about the project? Once you know the purpose, it helps you to decide the participants. Many a time this step is missed. We don't know what's the purpose. We just asked to join a meeting, accept a meeting invite because it's been called for. My request is, please do not skip this step. If you're at a management position, if you're the host, if you're the owner, please remember, do not miss this step. Determine what is the purpose of your meeting and only then call for a meeting, because people are going to an energy for a business discussion. So once we determine the purpose of the meeting, step number 2 goes, determine participants. It becomes absolutely easy to determine who are going to be the participants. So number 1 is who. Are they going to be your team members? Are they going to be the senior level? Are they going to be the blue collar ones? Who are actually going to be a participant? Are they going to be freshers, the interns whom you're going to talk to or have a virtual meeting with? Understand who is going to be a participant. Second point, how many, the strength. Are you going to deal with a 30 odd participant? Is it going to be 100? Are there going to be just 15 or 5? If there are 5 odd participants, you can always virtually have meeting by keeping their videos on. But if you have 50, you got to ask them to be on mute and switch off their videos, because it becomes difficult to scramble up with more participants. So it's essential that you decide prior how many participants are going to be a part of your virtual meeting. Where? Now, where, it means, are they local based or you have global participants also? Example, from India, if I send an invite to a participant in UK, I have shared or scheduled the time for 10 o'clock. That means the person in UK has to join the meeting at 5:30 early.
Hello, Rashmi?
Where, yes,
Yeah, just repeat last sentence.
sure. So we were discussing about where are the participants from? Are they local or are they global? It's easy to interact locally because we have the same time zone. But when it comes to a global interaction, you got to understand that you respect a global time zone. Let me cite an example. From India, I schedule a virtual meeting in the morning at 10. Answer is no. So we need to ensure. Am I clear on my
Yeah, now we can hear you.
clear? Okay. So we need to ensure that we respect the different time zones and predetermine where are the participants located and accordingly schedule the meeting. The last, when. So when is the timing, the time zone that I'm talking about. So who, how many participants, where, and when. These steps have to be followed, or these are the prerequisites for planning a virtual meeting. So determine your participants. Now, the surprise element here is not everybody or not all participants are just there to listen to. You have to assign some roles and responsibilities for each participant. Here we go. So if you see the slide, you'll come across the different roles that are played by participants. So on the top, the number 1 is the owner. Now, who's the owner? The owner is the one who decides for the meeting, who schedules the meeting, who knows what is the agenda and the objective for the meeting is. So that he is the owner. Number 2, facilitator. Now, who's the facilitator? The one who helps in engaging the participants, who is continuously communicating and talking to the audience, getting the points through. That's a facilitator. Number 3, scribe. Now, who's a scribe? Scribe is the one who's taking down the minutes of the meeting. All right, so he's responsible or she's responsible to take down the minutes of the meeting. He's making points as the virtual meeting goes on. The person makes minutes of the meeting simultaneously. Number 4, gatekeeper. Now, who's the gatekeeper? Gatekeeper is the one who keeps a check on the attendees who are coming in, going off, any connectivity issues. So that's the gatekeeper's job. At times, the gatekeeper also keeps a check on whether the audience is engaged or not. That's also a position or maybe a responsibility of the gate.
Rashmi? Hello, Rashmi? Hello, Rashmi? Yeah, hello everyone. I think we have lost her. Just wait for half a minute. I'm sure she will be back.
Harshad?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So sorry for that. Okay, I guess you lost me at the roles part. So the number one role to be played by a participant is owner. Number two, as a facilitator. Number three is scribe. Number four is the gatekeeper. So who is the gatekeeper? The gatekeeper is the one who keeps a check on the attendees. So there's a question coming up. What's the difference between facilitator and a tech master? Okay, so tech master is the one who looks after the technical fuss, who basically checks on the connectivity part or maybe the features of the tool that you're using. That's the job of a tech master. And a facilitator is the one who conveys the message or who's doing the delivery or engaging the audience. I hope I've answered that, Ajit. Difference between a facilitator and a tech master. So these are the 5 roles which you got to assign pre-hand. You need to have an owner, a facilitator, a scribe, a gatekeeper, and a tech master. Okay, moving further. Step number 3. So step number 3 is, okay, one more question popping up. Who will send invitation? So the invitation is generally sent by the owner, by the So the owner is the one who sends the invite. I hope I've answered your question, Dr. Anand. So please give me a yes if I have cleared your query and I move further. Thank you. Step number 3, agenda. Now this is super essential because you need to first determine what is the agenda for the virtual meeting. Now agenda comprises of number 1, the desired outcome. So when you start with the outcome or the result in mind, the process goes smooth. Unless you know what outcome that you're trying to drive through, it becomes difficult to work on the process, to have an engaging meet. So please decide what is the outcome. Is it to fix or to decide on a particular project?
Hello, Rashmi. Hello, Rashmi.
Yeah, I think we have lost Rashmi's voice.
Hello, Rashmi.
Yes, I can hear you, Harshad.
Yes, please continue.
Okay, yeah, my apologies for this. So step number 3, the agenda. Number 1 is the desired outcome. Number 2, once you know what is the outcome that you expect, the second step is going to be topics to be covered. You got to know what are the topics that are supposed to be covered in the entire webinar. And number 3, ensure that you know the expectations from the attendees. If you don't know what are you expecting from the attendees, you cannot pose in questions. You cannot engage them pretty well. So these 3 things have to be discussed and decided pre-hand. The outcome that you expect, the topics that are supposed to be covered, and expectations from the attendee. And this agenda has to be mailed prior to the virtual meeting so that the attendees are sure of what is going to be discussed. They are in loop. So do not forget to mail your agenda beforehand. selecting the tool, step number 4. So this is very crucial. When you're supposed to select the tool on the basis of access. Can all participants access the tool? Any tool that you're using, whether it is Zoom, whether it's WebEx or GoToMeeting, you got to know if it is accessible. What is the utility? How much utility it has? Does it have all the features that are required? Number 3, security. Is it secure enough? And number 4, support training. Many a times participants do not know how to use a particular tool. So the company has to pre-hand train them or provide technical support. So these 4 are the essentials when you are about to select the tool. Step number 5, do the dry run. This is crucial for a facilitator as well as for the participant, both. Once all the material or doc is sent ahead, you can see the pictures right below. You have to arrange lights, camera of your laptop. Your sitting position has to be arranged. Check with your professional looks. So unlike the person in the first image that we discussed, you got to be professionally dressed. Unless you dress up professionally, you won't have that feel or a formal feel of being a part of a business meet. You'll still be in a casual mood. Your dressing determines your mood. So it is important that you
Hello, Rashmi.
Harshad, can we request Rashmi to use her secondary internet?
Rashmi, could you try your backup internet?
Yes, I have. I did that.
Okay.
I think, I don't know. Okay. Shall I?
Yes, continue.
Yes.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So please arrange for lights, camera, your sitting position, and look professional. You won't get a feel of being a part of a business meet unless you dress professionally. So if you remember the first image that we had, all right, please dress up properly, be professionally dressed so that you have a feel of being a part of a formal meet or a business meet. You can see the images that are presented in the slide. So please place your camera, laptop camera, so that people can check on your body language. They get to see your facial expressions. Your sitting position has to be right, and also have a backup plan. Now, backup plan, of course, you can learn from my experience. You got to have your tech master around to help you. You got to have a co-host.
Hello, Rashmi. Rashmi?
Yes, I'm there. Harshad.
Yeah, just repeat just a tech part last.
Okay. So yes, just from my own experience, you can learn that you've got to have an alternative for your connectivity, because there might be abrupt connectivity issues at times. You'll face some technical. just hang in there and try to find a solution. It's important that you end up finding a solution to it. But technical fuss got to be there. You cannot help technology. Moving further, step number 6. Now, this is a question for the audience. Can you read or can you tell me what is mentioned in the slide? Step number 6. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So what is mentioned in the slide? Can the audience respond through chat? What do you see on the slide there? What is it that I've mentioned? People will have questions that Rashmi has suddenly turned French or something. So what is exactly mentioned in the slide? Can somebody guess? Okay. So yes, Anukrati has answered it right. It is nothing but RSVP. It's a French term. It's called Répondez s'il vous plaît. So it's a French term, RSVP. That comes to step number 6. RSVP is nothing but you accept or you tell the person if you can accept a particular meeting invite or not. So this is step number 6, RSVP. As soon as you get a meeting invite, say yes or no to it or respond to it on an immediate basis. This is step number 6. Let's do a quick recap for people who missed in between because of the connectivity fuss. Number 1, we're discussing about before meeting. Before meeting, what are the prerequisites? Number 1 is decide on the purpose. Once you decide the purpose, you come to know who are the participants or how many participants are supposed to be involved in your meeting. Number 3, once you know the participants, you got to decide on the agenda and mail it to all. And once you know the agenda, you select the tool. Once the tool is selected, all right, see here we were. Step number 5, you do the dry run to check if everything is all right. And step number 6, respond, RSVP. This is for the participants. Step number 6. So this was a quick recap. With your permission, I'd like to move further. Now, please have a quick look at this image and tell me what, in one word, what can you connect with or what do you understand from this image? Please take a quick look at the image and in one word, you would respond by saying, what do you understand? Okay, Tridip says confused. Okay. I'm sure most of us can connect with this image. Okay, chaos. I got Milind and Dharmesh saying chaos, miscommunication again. Yes, absolutely. Please read through the dialogues. Name-wise interaction is important. Good. Deja vu is what Shraddha says. True. All are speaking at the same time. Avoid short forms. No clarity is what Santosh says. Lovely, lovely. People can so much connect with this image. No focus, no proper order, not properly managed. Okay, join on time. Very nice, very nice. So you have a hang of what are the challenges that you come across in virtual meetings. Whom we are speaking need to be told before talking. Yes, absolutely true. Nirmal, absolutely true. Avoid confusing language is what Nirmal says. Harshit says in short virtual meetings. Okay, and Nishikanda says indiscipline. Okay, all right. So there we go. We are moving towards during the meeting protocols to be followed. So during the meeting, what should be done by a facilitator? Number 1, clearly establish first who is present. All right, and for the facilitator to determine who is present, the participants, it's a responsibility of the participants that they name themselves clear. Sometimes we just named by our mobile, we are attending phone calls on a phone. So at times it just reflects in the participants, Galaxy 503. Instead, please rename, name yourself. Rashmi Marathe. It has to be clear for the facilitator to know who is he addressing. Second, verify connectivity. Just check with everybody if everybody is in loop, is there. If you have lost someone, please check with the connectivity before you start the meeting.
Hello, Rashmi.
Yes, Harshad.
Yeah, continue.
Okay. So when we started this webinar, I had already instructed you about the process. The process was chat option to be used to question, please be on mute, switch off your videos, and make notes. These were a few instructions I had given before we started the webinar. So please instruct attendees on the process before you start any meeting. Let them know what are the technical instructions that they need to follow. Number 4, set expectations.
Hello, Rashmi.
Now, audible?
Yes, just repeat the last set.
Last one. Yes. So set expectations. You got to set expectations from a meeting perspective. So what is expected from the audience? We expect the audience to share views. We expect the audience to ask questions. We expect the audience to share real-time, share some document. Please set expectations beforehand. So these are during the meeting protocols to be followed by the facilitator. Let me do a quick recap for people who lost or missed in between. Number 1, verify connectivity. Number 3, instruct attendees on the process. And number 4, set expectations. Now, next phase is when you start the meeting, do not directly start. Do not directly start from the main concept. Please have a small talk. So please greet the audience or the participants. Just have a quick small talk as to how they're doing, how's their life, what is anything new that they have come across. Please start with a small talk. The reason being, the participants are not focused initially. They'll take time to focus. So always start with a small talk. Start with generic conversations. Do not directly dive into the main topic. Point number 2, use visuals. Whenever you're sharing a PPT, please ensure that it is full of visuals, because visuals help to engage participants. Number 3, listen to the attendees. So most of the time, attendees would not be on mute other than some other webinar sessions. So for virtual meetings, participants would be allowed to interact. So listen to their attendees, ask for their feedback, encourage feedback. And yes, of course, as a facilitator, color commentary. Now, what's a color commentary? The way I do it, when you guys chat, I'm reading out or addressing you by name. Okay, we have Shripad saying this, Dr. Anand saying this. So color commentary. In between, if somebody has lost you or somebody was just out of focus, he comes back in the loop by your color commentary. So as a facilitator, it's essential that you get used to color commentary. Tell people what is happening around. Let them be a part of it completely. So you got to be used to a color commentary. Now here I pop in a quick quiz for the audience. The question is, okay, the question from Shripad is use visual means. Now what does use visual means? Use images in PPT. Do not make your PPT boring. Do not be theory based. Do not squeeze in too much of theory when it comes to PPT. Use a lot of visuals, images. I wouldn't suggest using a lot of videos because they tend to drag at times if the connectivity is poor. But you can of course use a lot of visuals, graphs, diagrams, pie charts to drive your message. So that is what I mean by visual usage. I hope I've answered your question there, Shripad. Moving further, quiz. Now, what would happen if the facilitator fails to instruct attendees on the process? Listen to the question again. What would happen if the facilitator reduce employee participation. Option B, it would result in technical flaws, example, background noise, visuals switched on, and number C, all of the above. Now, audience, you got to participate in this quick quiz. You got to mention which is the right option, A, B, C. Perfect. There are a lot of options coming up, B, B, B. Somebody says A, C, 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 Akash, Chetan, Girish. Okay. Shripad saying A, Kanta saying C, Dr. Anand with B, Manoj C, Sachin C. All right, good, fantastic. So far so good. I am happy to know that you are there with me. So the right option is going to be, sorry, my bad there. The right option is C, all of the above. If you fail to instruct attendees on the process, it would reduce employee participation because employees wouldn't know how to engage themselves. How do they ask questions? Is it through chat? Is it by raising hand? And number B, B option as well. It would also result in a lot of technical flaws because you have not instructed them that they have to be on switch off mode. They have to be on mute. It would result in a lot of background noise. So option is going to be C, all of the above. With your permission now, I'll move ahead or take this presentation further during the meeting. So if you see the image that I have projected, it shows hands raised by participants. It shows engaging meeting. So the first protocol that we follow here is arrive early during the meeting. Now this is from a participant's perspective. It's essential that you arrive early for the meeting. Do not accept the meeting invite or do not enter the meeting after the time. For example, if the meeting starts at 11:30, you got to be there by 11:20, 10 minutes or at least 5 minutes before. So please arrive early. Do not be a late riser. Limit background noise. Yes, this is an absolute essential. We are at home working remotely. We have kids around, music running around. There can be a lot of disturbances. So it can create a nuisance for others. Please ensure that you limit your background noise or place yourself on mute wherever possible. Identify yourself. I have already mentioned this point. Whenever you're participating or you're a part of a meeting, please make sure that you're named right. It has to be a full name and check your name in the participants section. It has to be very clear who you are. So identify yourself whenever you're part of a virtual meeting. Dress appropriately. Yes, absolutely. Formal dressing is essential with a proper hair because you cannot just be casually dressed and attend virtual meetings. It gives a very different image or you tend to lose image there. No food allowed. We have seen a lot of participants engaging in eating. They're having drink, maybe a cup of coffee or tea or water is okay, but no food allowed. And please avoid roaming at your place. Many times you see people walking around with their phone in hand. You cannot walk around when you're having a virtual meet. Leave the keyboard alone. So many times we're checking mails simultaneously, we're multitasking. So participants should not place their hands on the keyboard. It can be a complete distraction for the facilitator. If you're tapping on the keyboard or playing around with it, please leave the keyboard alone. Avoid multitasking. Multitasking can include anything, writing at the other hand, or maybe just checking your mails, checking your social media account. Avoid multitasking. Be completely focused and in the presentation. And speak clear. Now, this is super essential point because the biggest challenge that we face in a virtual meeting is that your body language is not seen. We are communicating virtually. So when you speak slow with the right tone. Try to intonate if possible with a sweet tone. And please keep a check on the way you pronounce your words, soft and clear. Otherwise, you tend to repeat things most of the time. Your message would be pretty unclear. So please practice speaking clearly. And one more tip would be use the KISS factor. Keep it short and simple. Speak in short sentences. Do not speak lengthy. Do not stretch your sentences. It tends to create a lot of confusion for the audience or for the participants. So the next slide here, there are some oopsie-toopsie movements. If you can see, there are 4 different images. The first image shows just the way we do photobomb. Similarly, a person entering when the lady is having a virtual meet. Image number 2, if you can see, the person is in his underpants and is unaware that the camera is still on. It can create an awkward situation, absolute awkward situation. Number 3, just laying cozy in your bed and attending a virtual meeting is a straight no-no. And number 4, this person has forgotten that he's up with his shower cap on. So you please need to check that you're formally dressed. You need to be aware, and you got to be aware and follow these protocols to avoid these kind of oopsie movements or awkward movements to say. Now, moving ahead, after meeting, what to do? We've just cleared with before meeting, we're done with during the meeting. Now this is after meeting. After meeting, you got to answer questions by the participants, if any. That's the FAQ aspect of it. Number 2, call to action. Now what's call to action? After a meeting, many times we forget to inform or we forget to tell the participants what is expected from them. That is called CTA. If you're having a meeting with the marketing team, you got to tell them what are you expecting next. So by this week, I want the brochures to be ready. By tomorrow, I need the report to be ready. Call to action.
Hello, Rashmi? Hello, Rashmi? Hello, Rashmi?
Arshad?
Yes, please repeat from call to action.
Okay. So the call to action is CTA. You got to ensure that participants know what is the call to action. Example, if you're having a virtual meet with your marketing team, it's essential that you tell them that, okay, I expect this report to be completed by next week, or I want you to submit these brochures by tomorrow. That's call to action. Please ensure that your team knows or your participants know what is the call to action, the CTA. Many times the facilitator or the owner forgets to confirm on the CTA. What is the result that they expect from the participants post this meeting? That is called CTA. Number 3, minutes. Already mentioned or already created by the scribe, but this has to be mailed to all the attendees, also the one who could not attend the meeting, the ones who were absent. So minutes of the meeting is going to be crucial for everybody to understand what was discussed, what were the decisions taken, and also the call to action. So these are the 3 important points to remember after meeting. 1, answer the questions, FAQ. Number 2, call to action. And number 3, create minutes of the meeting. Here we are. So as we come to a quick end of the quiz, here is a quiz for the audience. What are the key takeaways from this webinar? So we have just discussed before, during, after, we discussed a changing scenario. What would be the key takeaways from this webinar from an audience perspective, from a participant's perspective? What are your key takeaways? Option number A, keep virtual meetings engaging. Option number B, plan purpose and agenda. Option C, mail minutes of the meeting. And D, all of the above. So yes, I have most of you, Dharmesh, Venkat, Yatish, Milind saying D, 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 D. There are all these points. And now, just as a quick addition, I would like to present this would be considered as a quick concluding slide. Virtual meeting security. Now, this is an upcoming issue that we face most of the time. People have this challenges with which tool is secure or which tool should be used. Is it secure or not? So just a quick tips which can be followed. It's not the tool which is secure or insecure. It's always the protocols that we follow. Because as we say, the chain is as strong as its weakest link. So cite an example, in a cricket team, if a player is injured, he's not allowed to play because he becomes the weakest link. So the chain is as strong, or the team is as strong as its weakest link. So if your team members are unaware of the protocols that have to be followed during a virtual meet, the team is going to lose out, or the meetings would be unproductive. Similarly, to establish virtual security, it's essential that everybody knows a few protocols. Number one, set passwords for the tool that you use and keep changing them on a regular basis. Keep them difficult to guess. Also set a password for we share passwords on social media at times. Do not do that. For a professional meet, avoid sharing your passwords. Disable unnecessary privileges. Example, sharing screen and annotations. So annotation is a big issue. Sorry. You'll find people being notorious at times. They tend to use annotate. So please disable the unnecessary privileges. Use security features, example, authenticated users permission or entry, waiting room, so that you can to leave. So please use security features, example, authenticated users and waiting room. And last, always end a meeting when done as a host or a facilitator. A leave meeting and end meeting, there's a difference. So you got to end the meeting for all to establish a virtual security. So these are a few protocols to be followed. Coming or a breaming issue. That's the reason I thought I would just quickly give him some hands-on tips on the same. And here we come to a final call. So we've been through the entire webinar and the presentation. As a feedback in your chat option audience, I would love to know 3 things. If you see this traffic signal image in this slide, I would love to know red. Red is what would you stop doing henceforth? What have we learned from this webinar or this session? And what would you stop doing henceforth in your virtual meetings? Number 2, amber color represents what would you continue doing henceforth? And green, what would you start doing, which you have never done, but you would start doing henceforth. So if I can have your quick responses on these 3 things. Red, things that you would stop doing, things that you would continue doing during your virtual meetings. I know there's a lot to write. So Girish says red, I would stop multitasking. Great, thank you, Girish. Sachin is gonna end meeting. Yes, so that's the point he drives home. End meeting for all. Shripad, amber is continue doing. What would you still continue doing for long and you still continue to do? Red is what would you stop doing? Green is what would you start doing? So this is a quick feedback from the audience part. Okay, great. So Dr. Anand says the green, I will assign roles to people. Fantastic. I would engage people is what Tridip says. Sunil says I'd be well groomed. Milan says I would be punctual. Fantastic, Milan. That's very important. Girish says I'm participating. I'll continue participating and making notes. Okay, Ajit here. Green, mailing agenda, identifying gatekeeper, have different owner and facilitator, ensure call to action. Fantastic. Dharmesh says red, stop multitasking. I'll continue. End the meeting. Great. Milan says, okay, plan roles. Good. I'll make effective notes and structured communication. Green is what Kanta says. Okay, minutes of the meeting is what Milin's response is. Harshad says stop multitasking. Make rules. Fantastic, fantastic. Stop multitasking for sure. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, audience. This makes me happy that you were in touch and you were there focused throughout the webinar. Thank you so much for your lovely responses. Now it's time for quick FAQs. If any, please throw in your questions. The forum is open for questions. Questions across the session. Any questions that you would like me to answer, please feel free to throw in the chat option and we would discuss it. Any questions? Okay, ideal way to place camera. Oh yes, Harshad, I missed your question. You've already asked this before. Ideal way to place your camera is at a distance where at least the audience gets to see your shoulder, your torso is what I would suggest. Your torso should be seen. The way I had positioned it today. So your torso has to be clearly seen where people can also see.
Hello, Rashmi.
Harshad?
Yes, just begin.
Okay,
Just
okay, sure, sure. So the ideal way to place a camera is where your torso can be seen clear. Your hand gestures or hand movements can be seen to some extent. Your facial expressions can be seen. So that is how you place a camera. The way I was placed today. Please avoid placing your camera on your lap. Use a table. And your eye connect or your eye contact should be straight at the camera. That's the ideal way to place a camera of a laptop. I would suggest avoid using a phone if possible. I hope I've answered it, Harshad. Yes. So what is the most secure platform? Okay, this is going to be a bit controversial, but I wouldn't suggest a proper secure platform. Any platform can be used till the time it's accessible, it has utility, it is secure, and it has a proper support training system. I wouldn't call out names. I just know a few like WebEx or a Zoom or maybe to some extent GoToMeeting. So there are ample tools available in the market. It's how you use it. It's what really matters. You cannot blame a tool for be misusing it. So it's essential that the security is determined by the participants who are a part of the meetings. So I wouldn't really throw in a particular name for secure platform. Even a name. Currently, we're using Zoom to a lot of extent. I know there's a lot of controversy for this tool, but I would again say that security is what we keep in. So just as I say, the weakest link. Dr. Anand, thank you so much for your feed. And I really appreciate it. Sunil, we are hearing a lot that Zoom app is not safe. Yes, there's a news around, but I would again say the same. I would repeat and reiterate my point that the tool is, its safety is determined by the participants. Okay, Vijay has a question here. If meeting for 5 persons, do we need an elaborate setup? Any tool can be used, and Vijay, for 5 people, you can of course share videos and make it more engaging. When it comes to 5 people, more than 10 creates a lot of chaos. So that is where you need to be a bit more coordinated. But 5 people don't need any other setup. I guess the lights, cameras have to be set up. The position has to be right there. Videos can be switched on. So it's pretty easy when it comes to just 5 people interacting. Any tips for background? Nishigandha asks. So Nishigandha, you can of course use virtual backgrounds that are used in different tools. You just need a green setup behind, or keep your background. The wall should be clear. Max, you can have photo frames on it, but avoid having any messy background behind, especially because you're working remotely. Yatish, thank you so much for your feedback. Chetan, explain more on set expectations with example. Okay, so setting expectations with example, I mean to say, you got to tell the audience what is expected from them. To give an example, say marketing team, you're having a brainstorming meeting with your marketing team or your R&D. Expect ideas to be pulled in. I expect you to be thorough with the report. I expect you to read the minutes, or I expect you to read the mailer that is sent and then contribute. So these are a few expectations. They of course vary from what is the agenda of the meeting. But this is what I call business expectations.
Hello, Rashmi. Rashmi? Yes, continue.
Okay. So yes, Chetan, I hope I've answered your question there. Thank you so much, Harshit, for your feed. Ajit, thank you so much for your feed. Shripad, I've already answered your question, advising a few safe tools to conduct online meetings. We already discussed this. Same with Nirmal's question. Okay, Harshit is here mentioning Microsoft Team is a good option. Yes, see, there are ample tools, but I wouldn't be the right person to comment on this. Kanta, thank you so much for your feed. Informative, thank you so much. Dr. Anand says for more than 5 participants, we can keep option of speaker display instead of grid option. Okay, yes, you can. Nishiganda, thank you for your feed. Chetan, how to overcome questions which arise before we present. Okay, how to overcome questions which arise before we present. If I get this question of yours right, see, I would always suggest to avoid any distraction during the virtual meet. I would suggest take all your questions at the end of the meeting to avoid any distractions in between. There are also a lot of apps and tools to help for the audience to post in their questions, and for the audience to reach out to you. You can make use of those apps also. For example, I have heard of Scribe, which is a tool which can help you post questions during virtual meetings. So you can make use of them if you want to help audience arise questions before your presentation. Girish, thank you so much for your feedback. Sunil, thank you so much for your feedback. Are you sharing this PPT to us on request? I need to confirm that, Sunil. And can you explain business ethics? Is Sripad's question. I'm not sure what kind of business ethics you meant. I've already covered the meeting etiquettes aspect of it. Please clarify your question for me to answer. Nirmal, thank you for your feedback. Vibha, thank you so much. Sudhir, Chetan, thank you. And Satyen, your question, any tips for meetings which can last for long time, say about 3 to 4 hours? I would say, Satyen, please take breaks at regular intervals. Just for example, in 60 minutes meeting, I had a breather by asking you 2 quizzes and 3 to 4 interactive questions in between. So a 60-minute of session needed 2 breaks in between. Similarly, for a 3 to 4 hour session, you would need, I would expect around 6 breathers or 6 breaks in between easily. Just a quick 2 or 5 minutes of a break is essential for people to come back and be focused. Shripad, thank you for your feedback. Dharmesh, thank you so much. Santosh, Sunil, your last question. Okay, how to stick meeting duration? How to determine meeting duration? It depends on the number of participants and the agenda that you're supposed to discuss. What is the agenda all about, or that you're supposed to discuss, and especially the number of participants that you want to pull in. So generally these meetings, virtual meetings, the best time would be, I would suggest 1 to 1.5 hours, not more than that. Because after 1.5 hours, people tend to lose focus at times. They tend to be distracted. So the best would be a 90-minute slot would be the best duration for virtual meets. So I hope I've answered most of the questions there. Smita, yes, thank you so much for your feedback. Satyen, thank you. And here we come to the final call. So this is it from my end today. And thank you so much, participants, for your lovely participation and for engaging so much. I hope you take and drive home a lot about virtual meetings and conduct confident and smart virtual meetings henceforth. Thank you, Words Maya, and thank you, CII, for this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your feed, Sachin. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Thank you. We'll be ending this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.